Hey. 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 Hey.
Was his first victim. It's not a completely insane strategy, except for the fact that you're all depending on each other to stay lucid enough to find and marry both Pajobo dolls. Paulina escapes down the tunnels where she finds Pepe. He has the chief's Pajobo doll. She convinces him that peace is an option, and they can tie the dolls together to end this madness. Pepe hesitates a couple seconds too long though. Alan's aggression incites Pepe to sever the dolls. If you were a property developer who went down to survey an old war bunker on your land, only to find out that it was built over an ancient burial ground which cursed you with eternal insanity, what would you do? In this How to Beat video, we'll follow the property developers, see if we can make better decisions, and ultimately attempt to beat the eternal curse in Gehenna, where death lives. If you think you can do better, leave a comment letting me know how. If you enjoy watching me dissect the actions of cursed real estate agents, go ahead and hit those like and subscribe buttons. I need your help to defeat the forces of evil. The Demon Lord, the Ice Golem, and the Wicked Monster Hotel in their backyard. In charge to summon an awesome champion as soon as you get in game. All this treasure will be waiting for you here. Rewards will be available only for the next 30 days and only for new players. Now go forth and sacrifice your yeomans for greater glory. We start out following some poor traveler getting ritually defaced and buried alive. That's why you gotta pack heat on your expeditions to remote areas. Never know what kind of twisted ass tribes you might run into. Nobody's suspicious about travelers disappearing in Saipan. Quite the opposite. A group of developers are scouting its beaches looking for a location to build their new resort. The Zillow listing initially looks great. Cheap beachfront property on a tropical island. The catch is that it failed to mention anything about burial grounds, sacrificial chambers, or accursed lands. The developers aren't completely uninformed though. Their driver fills them in on the way to the property.
Let's go.
Burial ground before Japanese even come.
It's kind of late to back out now. Who actually believes stories like Pet Cemetery or Indian burial grounds? It's all made up bullshit to keep people off their land. I'm not saying I wouldn't still bring a Glock 19 though. When Pepe opens the car gate, he notices that one of the doll ornaments has fresh blood on it. Maybe someone is trying to scare them off because they don't want Mr. Monopoly to build a giant tourist hotel in their backyard. Pepe neglects to say anything, not wanting to be that guy. While they're scouting the property with their drone, they spot a couple of indiges.
Customize and save with Liberty Mutual time!
I left the tickets on the plane.
Turn the lights off and go to bed, and a shadowy figure appeared. What would you do? In this How to Beat video, we'll follow a haunted family, see if we can make better decisions, and ultimately attempt to beat the Shadow Witch in Lights Out. If you think you have a better way to beat it, let me know in the comments. If you like these How to Beat videos, consider subscribing. We start out following Paul, the manager of a textile shop. I don't know about y'all, but I wouldn't be having mannequins placed around my office like that, especially if I worked at night by myself. Bare minimum, every time you walk into your office, you have to double check that it isn't a friend standing still trying to prank you. At least put them in front of your desk. The best case scenario is that the mannequin is a highly effective cursed peasant girl that comes to life and falls in love with you. Paul's about to find out what the worst case scenario is. He tells his employee to finish up the rounds and head out for the night. Why is the lighting so poor in this building? And how the heck can you do inventory in complete darkness? Oh great, not only does the poor lighting make it impossible to do the job, but he also has them hooked up to a motion sensor. So if you stand still and actually try to do your job, the lights shut off. I don't think this business has a bright future. She hand waves the lights back on, and the clothes next to her rattle. I would just mark everything on the list and head out. If the manager got mad that anything was blame it on the poor lighting. Maybe try turning it off and on one more time. Esther tries to tell her manager that something was in the back room, but he's too preoccupied talking to the psychiatrist about his wife's declining mental condition. After blowing off his disturbed employees' warnings, he finishes up his work and heads home. Sure, he initially dismissed his employee, but hearing a strange noise coupled with his employee saying something was back there should trigger a little red flag to pop up in his brain, or dare I say, a light bulb. Look, it's either a rat, in which case you won't be able to catch it, it's just the air currents causing something to make noise, in which case there's nothing to worry about, it's a robber or mugger, in which case you're screwed because they have the element of surprise and you don't have any weapons. Or it's a supernatural entity, in which case you couldn't even fight it if you did have a weapon. There is no benefit to checking this noise out right now. It's the evil jelly bean trail, with something baiting you into its grasp. Hell, most people would think nothing of a noise like that and just walk out, especially if you're so preoccupied with your family, or they do the opposite of checking it out and leave as quickly as possible.
Esther?
That was optimistic. Bet you wish you didn't cheap out on motion sensor lighting now. Paul sees that the ghost is stopped by the light. Considering the lights can go out at any time, he makes a break for it. When he passes through the darkness between lights, the ghost lashes his legs. Honestly, running is his only shot. He makes it back to his office, locks the door, and turns the lights on. Seems like he's safe for now, or not, as apparently this entity has control over the electricity. That's not really fair, but okay.
That's not really fair, dude. Dead ass, though.
This thing is like a ninja assassin. Meanwhile, Paul's stepdaughter, Rebecca, and her boyfriend, Brett, are in disagreement over Brett's desire to keep his socks at her apartment. As fascinating as that storyline is, we cut over to Rebecca's brother, Martin. Martin finds his mom talking to someone else in her room. Earlier in the movie, he FaceTimed his dad, Paul, complaining that his mom was talking to herself. I think there should be a distinction made between talking to yourself, which is actually good for you to an extent, and talking to an imaginary friend, which is called schizophrenia. The mom, Sophie, is exhibiting the latter. Okay, time to go sleep over at your friend's house. Martin goes back to bed and turns around to see the ghost's creepy fingers. After seeing that, you're gonna sit in your bed for the next 8 hours? Nope. I don't know how the kids survived the entire night. I would have opened the window, aimed for the bushes, and figured out a different living situation. The next day, the school calls child services on Martin because he's passing out in class every day for the past week. A symptom of a developing problem with Martin's dad being recently murdered and his mom being diagnosed with depression and schizophrenia. Yeah, I can see how it'd be hard to pay attention in social studies if that was the case. The fact that this has been going on for at least a week now and Martin hasn't ran away yet is crazy. They call his rebel half-sister to see how she can help. Surprise, surprise, Skater Girl just wants to take him back to the psycho mom. Do they not have an aunt, uncle, cousin, anyone else? Seems like keeping a kid in a home with a manic, depressed mom would be very damaging and unhealthy. Seems like a chill dude. I'm sure he'll die horrifically soon enough. When they show up at Martin's house, he tells Rebecca that someone named Diana is living with him. There's some spooky music and her eyes light up, so I'm guessing Rebecca knows who Diana is too. The kid packs his bag, but wait, he hears a strange noise in the room next door and is somehow compelled to go check it out, as if he doesn't already know what it is. I wonder how many more times people are going to check it out. I bet a lot. The kid moves in with his sis for a few days to get his bearings. They're gonna have to figure this situation out one way or another, but for now he needs to get some sleep so he can think clearly. He make sure to pack his flashlight just in case. It should be clear that Diana can short out the lights somehow, so a flashlight should be more reliable, but I wouldn't risk only having that. The flashlight can only produce a beam of light, which is effective and better than nothing, but you really need something that floods light in every direction. You also need to watch your back. Shining a beam of light in front of you is not going to stop Diana from ripping your spine out from behind you. I think the most tactically sound option is light armor, like armor made of light, aka wrap Christmas tree lights around you and plug it into a handheld battery. Checkmate, Diana. I'd also light enough candles in my room to look like a prayer ceremony, and not just some off-brand found in your mom's kitchen cupboard candle. I'm talking survival.
How would you guys rate this email from F? This is a mess and pretty rude. This could be worded a lot better. I'd also have to rank this as
Good delivery each stage. That contains powerful batteries. What?
Well, Grammarly can help you professionally get to your point and knock out that email in less than a minute. On your computer, go to app.grammarly.com and click on New Doc. And put your message and ask Grammarly's AI chat for an initial draft. Yeah, I would have spent way too much.
Reliable, smokeless, windproof candles that won't get blown out if someone opens the door too fast. They go to sleep for the night and nobody lights a freaking candle. You both know about Diana. You both know that she comes out in the darkness. Why aren't you taking any precautions? Diana takes advantage of their ineptitude and starts scratching the floorboard.
What are you doing down there? You have to turn the lights switch off.
She easily could have killed them before they even woke up. I guess you gotta season the prey with fear. Well, I think you made Mommy's ghost friend mad. Rebecca defeats Diana with the flip of a light switch and finds Martin hiding in the bathtub with his flashlight on. Initially, I didn't understand why he chose the bathtub, but it kind of makes sense. They can get you wherever it's dark. That includes under the bed.
Damn.
You grab your feet once you step down. Maybe back in his mom's house earlier in the movie, he experienced her creeping under his bed at night. They survive the night, not from their intelligence or wits, but because Diana doesn't seem to want to kill them, or she just sucks at it. Maybe she's trying to scare Martin and Rebecca away to keep Sophie to herself. But why attack them at the apartment if that was the case? You already accomplished your goal. The child services lady shows up and gives her a breakdown of why Rebecca cannot house Martin, and that he needs to go back to his mother according to the law. Martin could continuously run away, but the police and courts will get involved, and Martin and Rebecca could find themselves in detainment without the means to defend themselves. Much like the kid in Polaroid. It didn't end well for him. Rebecca and Martin both know the danger they're in and need to stay together and watch each other's backs. While Martin hasn't been harmed in the past weeks of Diana haunting him, he's obviously still in danger. Rebecca is also in danger herself, so it doesn't make sense to stay at her apartment alone. Running isn't an option anymore. It's clear Diana wants to do harm, and there's nowhere you can run that's safe from her. I'd suggest that Rebecca moves back in at home to help Martin, set up proper defenses, and sort this out. The mom nor the police will have a problem with it. Rebecca has a flashback to when she was little, coloring a stick figure fan picture, and when she was first confronted by Diana, who crossed the dad out and threw herself in. Apparently, it just now dawns on her that Diana is a real entity that is something with the mom's behavior. She heads back home to confront her mom about Diana. I'm completely on board with this, but can you at least stop by a store to pick up some flashlights? Like an I Am Legend, you gotta get those pitch black light tube backpacks. It'd also be a good idea to either cruise right in on the situation, or at least keep him by your side so you can guide him around safely. How many times are people going to be baited into obvious traps like this? Rebecca finds the picture of Sophie and Diana. Diana is her mom's friend who was real and had xeroderma pigmentosa, a horrific condition in which you're highly susceptible to UV light and you pretty much can't go outside without a full protective suit. Now that I think of it, that's kind of what the I Am Legend Darkseekers had. She finds more medical records than the recordings of Diana's condition and therapy, which are kept in this house for some reason. Isn't that against confidentiality? Diana was a heliotherapy patient at the psychiatric ward that Sophie was in. Sophie got better, but Diana's condition worsened, and she became aggressive and unstable. To combat her increasing sensitivity to light, the doctor strapped her into a chair and blasted her with multiple 1200-watt UV lights. Surprisingly, instead of healing her, it turned her into a nuke shadow. Life, there are no cures for this condition, just some drugs that may help, but absolutely no form of heliotherapy would ever be used experimentally for xeroderma pigmentosum. That's like standing in front of a firing squad in an attempt to develop an immunity to bullets, or trying to callus your hands with a belt sander. If you were even going to attempt this, you'd start with extremely low doses to see how the body reacts before going nuclear with the 1200-watt UV lights. After reviewing the medical records, she has a kick of nostalgia and visits her childhood room. I'd be cognizant of where your sources of light are and how they could fail. The only source of light right now is that door. If
Oops.
Diana can somehow close it, Rebecca is screwed.
Let's do some DAYZ.
Yup, seems that Diana is just trying to scare them away from the mom. That's probably why their dad, Paul, died. To get Sophie better. But if that's the case, why did Diana